freedom is merely nothing in reality. It is something that has been promoted as existing in society for the majority of the people, but this is not so.
Yeah, my freedom is my life. My freedom is my life.
And do what you want to do that's within the boundary of the laws, then I think you're free.
Freedom? Well, everybody being free.
That's good. That's good.
I don't know.
What about?
Freedom is not, a thing that is won easily, and it's a very precious thing, which.
Well, I got a pro and con attitude on freedom. I don't think people are free until they all are free. And right now, I don't think all of us are free, not completely. So,
I really don't know. I've never been free. I can give you my definition of it, but I really don't know the feeling.
Never been.
Yeah, but we ain't free. We ain't free to, like we really want to be. Huh? Are we? Now tell the truth. Are we free?
How do you feel about it?
See, when Adam and Eve was here, there was freedom. But then the serpent came along, and there's no more freedom.
Well, I think that in this country we have kind of a distorted notion of freedom because the government or the Constitution talks about freedom, freedom of the press and freedom of speech and things like that, but I don't think it's really existent in this country. I mean, I think freedom to me means like determining one's own destiny or owning your own means of production, and in this country the people that work don't own the means of production. Only a few certain people own everything, and all we do is just work and make a few little wages, but other people make profits. That's the meaning it has for me.
Some people will think in terms of, well, these 200 years for the Latino community haven't been that prosperous, okay? Collectively. Individually, there's been a lot of good things happening. But if you put it together and total it on the bottom line, some individuals may feel that, hey, we have not progressed. Things just haven't come the way they should have been coming to us, as being part of the American system.
We are progressing a little bit, but the white man is he's given us, a few crumbs here and a few crumbs there, as a pacifier, I just see history repeating itself again, One time, a lot of blacks were in the legislature, and doing, and writing a lot of things, But, well, as time went on, the white man got it back. You never did see your 40 acres in a move, and blah, 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 Never?
Before, when we just came here, then we didn't have much freedom because we were under heavy discrimination. We can't go anywhere we want to go and enjoy ourselves anywhere we want to do. And the jobs that we can find before were the jobs that the white men don't like. And that's one reason why we Asians had grouped together in Chinatown.
As a Native American man, I, Painted Warhorse, have never experienced freedom, nor do I know what freedom is all about. I'm sure that my ancestors, pre-Crazy Horse and Gaul, knew what freedom was all about prior to the coming of the European influence to this country. So I do not know what the definition of freedom is.
Dad, he came in 1889, and he never went back to Japan, He lived here and died here. And myself, I'm 75 years old, and I've never been to Japan. A lot of people say, oh, you should go back. But to date, I feel quite satisfied here, and so someday I'll make a visit. But
I think as an individual, I suffered, or still do suffer from, a personal affliction of, of alcoholism, and I had to learn what it meant to be free from the dreaded disease of alcoholism. And I think we look back at the history of our people and recognize that alcohol was never a part of our cultural way, and alcohol was never used before the white man come here. And so, I look at freedom in two senses. One, into my individual freedom, because I do feel free today, and I feel that I can stand here and, address this administration and this woman's prison here, or anywhere I go, I would feel free to express what I felt personally. Now, collectively, as a group, I do not think that our Indian people share that same freedom, because a lot of time we speak of discrimination, and I'm not sure that we've really been discriminated against. I think we've just completely been ignored because we don't represent any type of collective threat to the establishment. So I think in order to ensure the growing sense of freedom we would want collectively for our people, we see the message that's being spread, by people such as Thomas, and even, I would, feel free to say that that's a message I want to share, is that we have to come together in spiritual unity, so that collectively we're speaking as a group, as a unit, and all of a sudden you see that we would represent a threat to the organized establishment, and then people will have to start paying attention to that threat.
Because if I had always been disabled, maybe it wouldn't have been so hard to adjust, because say in earlier days, a disabled person was kind of considered a freak. He was considered a human being. He was pushed and shuttled aside. They had no freedom, really. And he was at the mercy of the people, the county, or whatever. But now I think freedom is one of the most precious things a person can experience. Sure, as I said before, there's been quite a few things that I have seen in my life that I wouldn't care to discuss, because it's just the same thing over and over again, man's cruelty or inhuman feelings towards man. And
the last quarter of the 20th century, and it's about time for a second revolution to take place in this country.
When we got this evacuation call, my wife and I, we felt that, the Americans here, outside of the agents, Japanese, they had to go to war, and while we just had to leave here and just leave our business, see. So we figured that that was our duty to do that much for the country, for your own country, is to move without trouble and do what they tell us. But we knew that we could come back. And I had...
Especially the younger children, and put them in a concentration camp, where is the freedom? I don't think it was a military necessity.
Do you think it hurt the attitudes of very many Japanese Americans towards America?
No, I think that there's good and bad in everything. But as far as putting us in a concentration camp, it does some good because it spreads the Japanese around, especially the Japanese American, around the country instead of being clannish.
Wait a minute. No okay, ready. 野間口さん、はい、あんたはアメリカへおいでなさって何年になりますか？
私は52年になります。
She's been here 52 years. And 来年はですね、来年はね、アメリカが独立してですね、200年で目なんですよね。あんたはそれをどういう考えでこの年をお迎えなさいますか？
まあいいことだと思います。こんないいことはないと思います。これからまだますますこの200年までもっともっと良くなってほしいと思いますと、孫や子のために、みんなのために。はい。
She said that it's wonderful that that America's having a 20th bicentennial, and she hoped this will continue so that her offspring would enjoy in the future years. そうしてですね、野間口さん、あんたはこのアメリカの自由というその言葉に対してどういう考えでいらっしゃいますか？
自由いうことはとても人間に対してはとってもいいことだと。はい。
She said that this idea of freedom in America is a wonderful thing. All human beings should have freedom. そしてですね、あんたはですね、戦争の時ですね、ミネドカのキャンプに得られましたでしょ。春前とですね、後とですね、どんな気持ちが変わりましたですか？
入る時はとても悲しかったと。もう再びシャトルに帰れないと思いましたって。それでもね、帰ってからとても苦しかったって言ってください。
When she went in the camp during the wartime, she was so sad. But after she came to the camp, that she was able to resume her life in America, what she says, she's very, very happy. そうですね。
はい、はい、そうです。
ありがとうございました。
はい、Thank you.
I like democracy, but it should be a pure democracy, not a democracy that's democracy of the rich people, but the poor people don't have much chance. They are being exploited by the government, by the capitalists.
Talk about education, you talk about health, you know, you can't find anything for the people, you know, you just find institutions to put them down and jail them and beat them and take them away from developing their needs and getting away from prisons, you know. There must basically be something wrong with 200 years that has created a Vietnam, you know, that has created a North Korea, South Korea, you know, that has created Chile with the FBI, with the CIA and the FBI. There must be something basically wrong, you know, and that means that 200 years in this country's development have gone to pot, you know.
Freedom will never come to a poor man. The honest man got his freedom is a rich man. He's the one that's got the money, and he's the one that's rich. So he don't have to worry about nothing. He close us all out if he wants, and stop us all from waking, stop us from doing anything. That's what I think about freedom.
So money is what freedom means to you. Money is power.
Power. Money is power, baby. That's what counts as money in this country. If you ain't got no money, shame on you.
Start trolling that black children are inferior to them. And I tell them if they are black Americans, they were born here, they wasn't born no place else. Their family was born here, and we have contributed a lot to this country. And I told them to stand up and be black, like they really are. And standing up being black shows intelligence, it don't show ignorance. And this is the way I tell them. Tell them, don't think small, think big. What are you going to be? Be the biggest thing you can be. And I think the first job you ought to try to be is shoot for president. They might make senator.
And so just to take the last Voting Rights Act, so-called, to extend voting rights principally to black citizens for another 7 years. You know, it's this kind of ludicrous thing that makes one wonder, what the hell are they talking about? You know, bicentennial celebration. I think that it's another one of those things I call vulgarities of the system.
No, it's just they didn't know they could be free. They didn't know that they could vote even. I mean, I've seen right here the people that come up from the South in the last 30, 40 years before they were able to vote in the primaries down there. When they became able to vote, it was a real celebration. I mean, the whole family would go, and one person in that family would become eligible to vote. The whole family would go. And that was the freedom that they never had experienced. And that makes people, well, at least it did me, feel that I was a part of the country, I was a part of the government.
You know, means 200 years of genocide, you know, to Indians, Chicanos, blacks, Asians, and poor whites that were, you know, used and abused in the work fields. It was 200 years of complete neglect of other people's education, other people's health, other people's, it means 200 years of increasing amount of jails. You know, what the United States has done is created more and more jails in this country. Fortresses go up, you know, and in this large colony called the United States, you know, continental area. And you know, that's the most eminent thing, McNeil Island, you know, the Walla Walla prisons, Prudy, you know.
As we get involved in Indian affairs, I think, you know, the connotation of freedom for an Indian actually takes on the expression of oppression. I know we went to the National Indian Activities Association powwow, and you know, I hadn't thought of it in terms of not celebrating the centennial, because I think we're kind of programmed to celebrate the white man's activities, the 4th of July, Labor Day, Christmas. We do these automatically, and
no, they're not free, because they can't do what they want to do. They got to live by the rules of society, you know, what the capitals and stuff put down, you know, president and all that. Ain't nobody free. Nobody's free. The freest thing I know is a baby when they're born, and after the first couple of days, they're in prison too.
What do you think of the bicentennial?
As far as them celebrating it, they ain't accomplished very much as far as I'm concerned. The world is a rat race, you know. Too much stuff going on, too much confusion. It ain't right, you know.
Think minorities in this country should be celebrating?
Still, I think they should celebrate that they're still here, you know, still existing, you know. And they say we're getting a little more freedom, not freedom, but rights than we had before. But as far as I'm concerned, there ain't nothing. You know, you still ain't got your righteous rights. You still can't do as much as you want to do.
How much freedom do you have in here?
Very little. I mean, you know, you don't have any privacy at all. You go to your room and they got a little hole in your door so they can look at you when they want to make sure you're there. And you can't even go use the bathroom by yourself, because certain times, you know, when they take count, they come in there and count you on the toilet, you know, or in the bathtub or in the shower, open up, because they got to see you all the time. So you don't have any privacy. I'm not, you know. They don't, like, I have a drug problem. They don't have anything for my problem, you know. I'm just in here, as far as I'm concerned, doing dead time, because when I get out, you know, I'm still going to have this problem, you know, because they ain't doing nothing to stop, you know, help me. You know, I want, you know, they say you can't, a drug addict can't help themselves unless they want help inside, but, you know, still, you know, if you got a really bad problem, you can't do it alone, I don't think. You got to have some coaching or some help, somebody to talk to from time to time. Drug counselor here is a acid freak, you know, he ain't never had any drugs, no heroin or nothing. So how can I relate to this man and he don't know what I've been feeling inside?
How much freedom do you have in here?
None, really, because, you know, okay, they let us walk around here, okay, that's a little part of the freedom, but to me, it's not freedom. Freedom is when they let me loose from here, okay, and being here, you got rules to obey, you got people over you, you got people over them, people that's telling them to tell you to do something. You got to be locked up at a certain time. You got to, when I was in F, you had to be, you know, go to bed at 11 o'clock, you know, and administrative segregation, you know, was put in there for 22 days, you know, and it was little old room. It was like a dungeon, you know, had a little toilet in there, your bed in there with a little thin mattress, and, you know, and it was cold air is blowing out through this room. You get 3 meals a day, and it comes through this room. You can't leave. You stay in this room 23 hours a day. They let you out for an hour to smoke a cigarette. Then they put you back in. That's not freedom, you know. And little hole in the door, we could peep out, you know, if visitors come or something, you know, peep out this little hole, you know, and talk to them, things. You know, that's not freedom. I feel like there's no freedom here, really.
What do you think of the bicentennial?
The bicentennial? What's that consist of?
The 200th birthday of this country.
Well, I feel like I'm ready for the, what's that, reincarnation. Because if this is a new birth, boy, it's ugly. It need to be redone and reborn again. Because I don't dig it. Why do I say it? It's because it's a rugged world. I mean, you know, we're living among people that are, okay, like people that are putting us inside institutions and things. Okay, look at the president and the Watergate. Okay, if anybody need to be in, it's him. He's the one sniping all money. I'm just sniping a little bit of money to try to feed me and my child. But they say that, you know, I'm a threat to society, you know. And I feel like the whole world is racist, you know. It's just a dog-eat-dog world, you know. And I feel like, you know, that's why it should be reborn, you know. New birth, again.
But being in prison, you know, it's something that I never went through before. You know, there's people watching me all the time, and, you know, it ain't right. You know, the people here is not right. You know, if they see you, you know, you and a lot of other people together, you know, in a group, they just feel that you're doing something wrong, you know, when you could just be talking about old time when you was out on the street. You know, it's really ugly here in prison because, you know, they look at you and, you know, automatically, you know, you're a bad person, you know.
Well, freedom is a vague topic. Maybe I can explain what freedom is by saying what freedom isn't. Freedom isn't getting up in the morning to the sound of a bell, things like that. Freedom isn't having to be told what you can write and what can be sent to you, things like that. Freedom is the ability to determine your own future on a personal level. I letter from you, and you are locked up, and you talk about establishing ties with the community and things like that. Sometimes their first thoughts is, well, he's just jiving because he wants to get out, when that's not even the point. You know, everybody in here wants to get out. So if you stop helping people because they want to get out, then you don't even have to bring any food in here. You know, I think that's a understatement to say he wrote me because he wants to get out. Everybody wants to get out. He wrote you because he thought you could help him. So when he
I really got mixed emotions about, you know, blacks' participation in the bicentennial. One time I can give a definite no, then sometimes I get a definite maybe, and then sometimes I can give a yes, because black people in this country has been a definitely part of making this country what it is, i.e. may be good or bad. But I think the problem is that we've been lost, stolen, and strayed in the history of this country in terms of relating to what blacks have done in this country. So I don't think that on one hand we can celebrate 200 years of oppression and racism in this country, but then on the other hand, I don't think we should let 200 years of celebration go by without awareing the American people of what blacks have done and to contribute to this country.
Okay, I most definitely feel that there should be Native American participation in the bicentennial, but not in the way that we have been asked by the bicentennial committees. Not as attackers of wagon trains that are traveling across the states, not as rapers of white women and all these other negative stereotypes which have been promulgated by Walt Disney and Zane Grey Theater. There are many positive aspects of Native Americanism that should be brought to light in the last 200 years, the bicentennial of this country. Things like the fact that the Constitution of the United States was drafted after the 7 Iroquois nations, that we had a democratic society in this country that far exceeded that of Plato's Republic. These are the type of things that I would like to see in the bicentennial.
What does the bicentennial mean to you?
Not much. Well, I don't know, because I'm not born here, you know, and I don't know this country very well, and I think that's all.
It's the nation's 200th birthday, and it's the bicentennial. Does that mean anything to you?
Well, I'm sure the bicentennial activities that will be going on throughout the city and the state will be a benefit to all concerned. People be coming into town, you have more business, and money will move, fresh money.
bicentennial.
Bicentennial. Is it something when you try to fight muscular dystrophy?
What about you in the bicentennial?
I think we should definitely celebrate the bicentennial because we participated, you know, even before 200 years, you know, in the making of America, and I think we're an important part of it, and we should participate in it, definitely.
So you're going to celebrate, or you're not going to celebrate?
I'm going to give you a yes and a maybe and a hell no.